Let me welcome you to today's webcast entitled NSF AT Mentoring and Other Resources. My name is Dr. Elizabeth Hawthorne, co-PI of the ATE project entitled Community College Presidents Initiative in STEM Education. It is my pleasure to serve as today's moderator. The webcast is being recorded for placement on our webcast at cpstem.org. You can webcast-podcast. You can see that link right on the title slide, and along with our other CipiCast episodes. So this will be number 12. So the presentation slides and the recordings are all on our website. The recordings are video and audio, as well as just the podcast audio. So whatever you like to do, you can catch up with us. For those who are just joining, I know I've already said this, but please be sure your audio is muted and type your name and affiliation in the Zoom chat box. Throughout the presentation at the end, we will pause for you to type any questions in the Zoom chat box. The questions will be read aloud for our presenters to answer. We ask that you hold your questions until these designated times. And I'm going to ask Dr. Dukes if she can monitor the chat, as well as Pam, as we continue. All right, so how many folks do we have? 24, okay, and I have the top of the hour, and Madeline Patton is joining, so I'm going to get started. Again, welcome. I want to introduce our distinguished panelists. I'm so happy that they've made time to spend this afternoon or morning, depending where you're coming from, with us. And Elaine Kraft is the PI of Mentor Connect at Florence Darling Technical Community College in South Carolina. She's also the PI and co-PI of many other ATE grants. Pam Silvers is co-PI of Mentor Connect, also at Florence Darling Technical College in South Carolina. She also is a retired professor at Asheville Buncombe Technical Community College. And Pam, is everything okay there in Asheville from the hurricane? We got a thumbs up. Okay. And we also have
I was going to say
Karen.
I'm okay. I won't say everything is okay. It's still pretty bad, but where I live in Henderson County, I'm good.
Very good. Thank you. Also, we have Dr. Karen Wazina Birch, who is the PI of another mentoring initiative called Mentor Up. She is also the PI or principal investigator of a National Center for the Next Generation Manufacturing. And I believe that is in Connecticut. And I will serve as the moderator. And my name is Beth Hawthorne, PI of a sunsetting mentoring initiative called Fortifying Cybersecurity and Computing Education through ATE Grants. Also, I'm co-PI of the CipiStem project, as I mentioned before, and I retired from Union College in New Jersey as a computer science and cybersecurity senior professor. Okay, what we're going to talk about today, we're going to have an overview of the CipiStem project from one of our co-PIs, Dr. Charlene Dukes, who is retired president of Prince George's Community College. We're going to just briefly do a demo of the NSF AT instructional modules that CipiStem has been developing for the past 3 years. Just a quick demo because we want to leave a lot of time for our mentoring initiatives. And we're going to talk about how the National Science Foundation ATE program can help your institutions. We're going to hear from Mentor Connect and Mentor Up, and then we'll have time for questions and answers, and we'll have a poll at the end. And I think what we'll also do is pause at the end of Mentor Connect for any questions specific for Mentor Connect, and also pause at the end for Mentor Up. Okay, so without any further ado, Dr. Dukes, can you talk about the key initiatives of the CipiStem project?
Yes, I will. And I do want to acknowledge our presenters today. You all are doing great work, and we've been great partners in this work. So thank you, Elaine. Thank you, Pam, and certainly thank you, Karen. And Beth and I serve as co-PIs of the Community College President's Initiative in STEM, and we have some of the other members of our leadership team or regional networks who are with us today as well. So, Beth used the term retired a couple of times. I'm not sure that we are retired because we're on the call with you all, and we have all in our own way accepted the invitation to really work with the nation's community colleges with regard to STEM, both in the technical skilled areas, as well as those that are things like engineering, medicine. A lot of us have a portfolio behind us in terms of our work with ensuring that we have a diversified workforce and that our institutions are being innovative and transformative as they look at their program offerings and student success. So in the Community College President's Initiative in STEM, we really focus on advancing the STEM workforce, education, and promoting the advanced technological education program. So we've done that through an establishment of a series of regional networks across the country. Where you see the shaded areas, that means that we have regional network chairs and regional coordinators who work with the community colleges in those particular states. The unshaded areas indicate, geographical areas where we are looking to identify presidents primarily who can help us with this work in those particular jurisdictions. And what we're trying to do is to ensure that community colleges both understand the transformative nature of their institutions, and especially as it relates to grant applications and certainly the acquiring the grant as you think about your own particular student population and the local, regional, and in many cases, national workforce needs that are out there where community colleges can play a vital role with regard to helping students and their families reach their dreams and aspirations and have truly sustaining wages as they think about their own futures. So as a part of the regional network process, we also have a fellows program where we are working with current doctoral program faculty, staff members, administrators who really want to do research both either in STEM or in workforce development. And more importantly, they want to make sure that their institutions are thinking about the future. So we are actually getting ready to interview our third cohort of CCPI STEM fellows. And if we are thinking about next year's cohort, for those of you who might be interested, please stay tuned on our website, ccipi-stem.org. We've developed a series of instructional models from beginning to end. What does it mean to think about applying for a grant? What are all the things that you must have in order at your institution? How do you ideate around those things and then turn those ideas into a grant document where you can begin to apply for support from NSF in the ATE program? And that's what you're going to hear a lot about today. PIs, principal investigators, co-principal investigators who are really working with providing these what we call sort of support services for institutions who want to move in this direction, aren't quite sure how to start, and to let you know that you can do this. And why can you do it? Because the nation needs you to do it as we think about the evolving nature of STEM. We also offer, you've already heard that from Beth, a number of CCPI casts that you can go on our website and look at the ones that we've already done. And I believe we may have some information out there about future webcasts. We do a President's Press, which means it's a newsletter that sits on our website as well. We attend and present at conferences, those that are pretty familiar to us, AACC, the Association of Community College Trustees, the League for Innovation, the California Community Colleges, the Workforce Development Institute. So we're working really hard to get this message out far and wide. And then we do something called a thought leaders dialogue with one of our partners, the League for Innovation, because we want to hear from all of you who are on the ground doing this work. What questions do you have? Where do we have opportunities for improvement in the grants process? Where do we think about the challenges in the grants process? And how do we think about the challenges potentially, or the supports that we have at our own institutions? So our next dialogue is in January of 2024. Please feel free to join us for that as well, because we want to hear from you. All of these programs are about how do we help you as you're working in the field, as you are on your campuses and thinking about what are the ways in which we can use the grants model in order to innovate, transform our institutions, and support students who are both need to be exposed to or already interested in the STEM field. So thank you. And with that, Beth, I'll turn the program back to you.
Charlene, do you think you could do this one?
Sure, absolutely,
Okay.
I will. So, the ATE program can help with a number of things, and I've already alluded to some of them. Curriculum development. If you don't have all of the resources that you need on your campus, it can help you say, here's where we want to be. Here's what business and industry have come to us and told us what their needs are. Here's how we predicted what's coming down the pipe. And, as we think about economic development in our own communities. So ATE can help you do that. It gives you some additional resources to do it, helps you work with faculty. And it also is a great opportunity as faculty are thinking about those things that they want to do. But, sometimes we live in both times and areas where we don't necessarily have the funding to make it happen right away. So they can be associate degree programs, they can be partnerships with 4 other 2-year institutions and 4-year institutions, certificates, certifications, and capstone experiences. Think about things like apprenticeships and the like. That those are things that are available too. Equipment can help you purchase equipment that you otherwise might not be able to ensure that your students are working in state-of-the-art environments. They are one of what I would call the not so direct influences of it is that it helps to improve student retention and success, because students are excited. They get to work on new equipment. They get to think about new opportunities that exist at the local, regional, or state levels as they think about their own career trajectories or where they want to step in, and they're in the STEM field. We've already talked about faculty professional development. It allows faculty to benefit from that, from attending conferences and the like, presenting what they're doing on their campuses. And then it also helps as we think about our collaboration with business and industry. Most of us, I'm sure, have advisory programs where we bring in our local, regional, national businesses and industries, especially if they have a presence in our community, and how they help us continue to think about what the future is bringing. And you all know that we work in institutions where today we say we can't even necessarily predict what the new job market will be like 6 years, 10 years or so from now. But these grants can help us engage in those kinds of conversations and consultations with business and industry. And then, of course, it helps us as we reach back and partner with our local high schools and the students who are thinking about what their next step is relative to post-secondary education. So these grants can help with innovation through partnership relationships with our local high schools, with the teachers who are there, the faculty, and certainly as students are contemplating what is next for them as they are leaving, K-12 and moving into post-secondary experiences. And we want to be there for all of them, with more than 1,000 community colleges across the nation, serving somewhere in the neighborhood now of 8 to 9 million students. We believe that we can do this and can contribute mightily to the workforce needs across the United States of America and our territories. So thank you, Beth. I'll stop there.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Dukes. Okay, so I'm going to talk about this slide. So why do you want to connect with one of the ATE mentoring initiatives? There are lots of benefits, and Mentor Connect and Mentor Up will talk more about specifically what they can do to help you. But generally speaking, the mentoring initiatives will pair a mentee and a mentor, and the mentors have extensive experience in the ATE program. They've been there, they've done that, they can relate to you, they know the ins and outs and some tricks. The mentors have numerous ATE grants or actually former ATE program officers at NSF. And they focus on successful strategies for developing competitive ATE proposals. They will help guide you through the whole proposal writing section, and there are many sections to an ATE proposal. It can get daunting at times. And that doesn't even include the supplemental documentation. They can help you prepare your budget. They can help you with evaluation, project evaluation, which is very important to make sure that you stay on track and know where your successes are, and maybe can help you correct the midstream to get back on track. Right now, NSF is using research.gov. Those of you who have been around, it used to be fastlane.gov. So that's something new. The mentoring initiatives are up on that and can help you navigate research.gov. And there are a ton of forms that go along with your project proposal, so they can help you navigate the required forms. They also can provide examples of successful ATE proposals, redacted, of course. So you get an idea of what you might want to do. And just this time around, we had a change to the ATE program solicitation, and they stay on top of that and can help you navigate that. And then there's a document that NSF puts out called the PAPG that governs all the types of regulations that you need to know. It's a rather lengthy document. So the mentoring initiatives can point you to the exact part of that PAPG so that you don't have to read 200, 300 pages. So with that, I want to just do, maybe I'm just going to talk about the demos. I'm just watching time here. So Shane Kirby, which is part of the CCPI STEM leadership team. He is the grants director at Columbus State Community College, which just got the National Center for IT, and Shane's been very instrumental in that success. So he developed 5 different modules for us. Of course, we started with 1 through 4, and we decided, oh, we need another one that should be the overview. So that's why it's called Module 0 there. And it's located on Canvas. And if you would like access to these modules, just send me an email, ekhawthorne@gmail.com. We'll go in and use the information as you see fit. And if you have any suggestions for Shane for improvements, or you see a typo, he's always open for that. Let me see. I'm going to stop sharing for just a second and see if I can get to the canvas here, just to show you here. Come on. This is okay. Here we go. Let me go to Zoom, share again, clicking here. Here we go. Okay, so this is Canvas. Most faculty members will be very familiar with Canvas. We use the free for teachers version. The price is right, but it works very well. So you can see a lot of the modules in person. I would recommend Module 2 if you're very interested in developing grants. And it has just pointing out a couple things, the ATE budget, kind of 101, different resources and mentoring opportunities that we're going to focus on. So if you would like access to these free modules, just send me an email and I'll add you under the people link. Okay, let's see if I can go back to the slides. Are you all seeing the slides? Thumbs up, slides. Okay. All right. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Mentor Connect first, followed up by Mentor Up. Go for it.
Oh, thank you, Beth. One thing I want to help you understand is that all ATE-funded support programs that focus on grant proposal development and submission use mentoring strategies and the same textbooks. The two documents that guide instruction are the current ATE program solicitation, and we have a new one this year. It was published this summer, which is essentially the NSF call for proposals, and the NSF proposal and award policies and procedure guide, which is referred to as the PAPG, as Beth said, or the PAPPG. ATE mentoring initiatives offer one-on-one mentoring by peers with the grant development experience and success with ATE funding. And as Beth mentioned, some of them have actually been NSF program officers. The mentoring initiatives differ in timing and mode of delivery. Some start later in the grant cycle than others, and some are only virtual, while others mix in-person and virtual support. I will be talking about Mentor Connect. It's the longest running of the mentoring initiatives and the one that provides the greatest lead time between the start of mentoring and the grant submission deadline. Mentor Connect is one of the hybrid models that offers in-person workshop coupled with virtual support. If we could go back one slide, please. As Beth mentioned, I'm Elaine Kraft. It's my privilege to be the principal investigator of Mentor Connect, and co-presenting with me today is Pam Silvers, and Pam is a co-PI on the Mentor Connect project. Now we can move on to the Mentor Connect big picture. Mentor Connect teaches teams from two-year colleges to prepare competitive ATE grant proposals. These proposals most often result in ATE grant awards. As a result, colleges are better able to advance technician education programs, and faculty who engage in this work grow as leaders throughout the process. Next slide. Mentor Connect was initially funded in 2012. The teams we invite to participate are comprised of 4 people. Key team members are 2 key STEM faculty who will prepare technicians in advanced technologies that drive the American economy. These faculty members will be the principal investigator or PI and co-PI of the ATE grant that is developed. In addition, we include a grant professional and an administrator from the college. The administrator should be someone with responsibility for and interest in the technician education improvements that will be the basis of the grant. Teams learn in cohorts with others who are new to ATE, whether it is the college that is new to ATE or just the faculty participants who are new to ATE. We work with 24 teams a year for approximately 9 months. There is no cost for the services Mentor Connect provides. Travel expenses are paid for all 4 team members to attend 2 in-person workshops, and faculty participants receive a stipend for their above and beyond effort in proposal development. Mentor Connect supports participants through NSF, the funding process, and beyond. Most recently, we added a PI 101 component of support to help new faculty PIs navigate the first year of project implementation. Implementing project activities is only part of the responsibilities that a PI assumes, so we help them understand this and navigate all that's required. Mentor Connect also offers special mentoring services and support for those whose initial proposal isn't funded to help them rework and resubmit a declined proposal. Once an initial project is nearly complete or thereafter, we also assist those who want to move up to a larger ATE project and higher levels of funding. All Mentor Connect participants are assigned an experienced ATE mentor. Mentors who work with Mentor Connect are prepared through a year-long Mentor Fellows internship. For those who are new to ATE, learning takes place as a cohort, which helps those who are new integrate with the ATE program and begin building their network of two-year college technician educators nationally. Mentor Connect translates and helps participants understand NSF and ATE requirements and expectations. Deciphering government publications isn't always easy. We focus on skills development that will be useful, not just for a first proposal, but for additional grant funding in the future. Skills include project development, proposal structure, and grant writing. Now I'm going to ask my colleague Pam to give you some more specifics about Mentor Connect services.
Thank you, Elaine. First of all, what does Mentor Connect offer? And you'll see that this is very similar when Karen talks about other mentoring initiatives, but we do teach ATE grant proposal preparation strategies, guide proposal writing, which is both the timeline and accountability, advise prospective grantees throughout the funding process, provide technical support for the project startup, answer questions about project implementation and grants management, stimulate STEM faculty leadership development, and as Elaine mentioned, we prepare mentors to work with prospective grantees. Mentor Connect, we'll go to the next slide, is been around since Elaine said in 2012, and we have worked with 12 cohorts so far in 43 states and 2 U.S. territories. And people always ask which territories. So it was Puerto Rico and American Samoa. And we've worked with 261 college teams that have comprised 491 faculty members and 317 grant professionals and administrators. Next slide. As you can see from this slide, 86% of the teams we have worked with have submitted ATE proposals. Of those, 72% from cohorts 1 through 12 have received, and I should say 1 through 11, have received NSF grant awards. To put this funding rate in perspective, the overall funding rate for NSF is only 26%. And so we are right now at 72%. And the funding cycle for cohort 12 has just concluded. So they just submitted their proposals last week on October 3rd. It was a very successful year for Mentor Connect participants, and 22 of our colleges that submitted in 2023, out of them, 18 received ATE funding awards, which is an 82% funding rate. So if you are new to ATE, getting mentoring support is definitely the way to go. And if we'll do the next slide. To get started with Mentor Connect to prepare proposals for October 2025. Our deadline is coming up on November 8th, 2024. And if you go to www.mentor-connect.org, at the top, you'll see something that says Get a Mentor. If you click on that, you would find the information about how to apply to be part of our cohort 13. And on it, you do have an electronic application that you list who's going to be the PI and co-PI that Elaine mentioned, as well as the other support members. And we do require a college affidavit that the college, usually the college president, but they sign that they're on board for you doing the grant. We don't want a team to do all the work and then come down to September 30th of next year and their college go, wait a second, we're not interested in that. So we do require an affidavit. And if you go to the next slide, this slide does provide information about how to contact Mentor Connect if you have any questions. And I will say the fastest way is probably doing mentor-connect at fdtc.edu. We monitor the email and answer questions really fast, but we will get back to you in whichever way you know. And in the group chat, I am going to put a link to a webinar we did on September 25th, which included both Dr. Celeste Carter, who is the lead for the AT program, talking about the new solicitation and what is expected, and also gives you a few more details about Mentor Connect. And now I'm going to turn it over to Karen, who's going to talk about another funding initiative.
What I'm going to do, Pam, is hang on one second, Karen, just pause for a moment and see if there are any questions for you and Elaine, particular to Mentor Connect.
Okay.
So, sure. Yeah, Charlene, do you see any questions in the chat? for Mentor Connect. I see Pam, you put that link in there. So we'll pause for a second, see if anybody has questions. And I'm gonna just tell a little success story that I got. Thank you, Charlene. That I I was at Union County College at the time, and I see Mohammed is from Union College of New Jersey right now. They changed the name since I retired. But I tried to get an ATE proposal twice and was unsuccessful. And then I heard about Mentor Connect. And I think I was in the 5th cohort, Elaine, I'm not sure. And bingo, I got it immediately. So that, 82 to 86% success rate is true, and the other statistic I wanted to tell you, it comes from NSF. It says most people who submit proposals to NSF get it takes 2.3 tries. Of course, that's an average, right? You're going to try either 2 or 3 times, but using a mentoring initiative like Mentor Connect or Mentor Up, that really increases your chances. So I'm a living testimony to how this works, and I learned everything from them, and then I was able to be spin off and do my own mentoring initiative. We actually, Force ATE got started from a Mentor Up when they had a lot of cybersecurity proposals, and they reached out to Dr. Vera Dracovic, who started the National Cyberwatch Center at Prince George's Community College. And so Vera enlisted me since I had just retired for the first time. But again, as Charlene says, we really don't know what that means. So any questions for Mentor Connect at this point? We'll circle back around at the end. Okay. All right, Karen,
Hey,
it's your
great.
turn.
Yeah, so happy to be here. So, I actually am the PI of another mentoring group called Mentor Up, and I do want to say I can give a lot of credit to what I know to Mentor Connect. I was one of their actually mentors for many years, and it was a great experience. So, a lot of what I've learned, I've been able to kind of adapt and share with our Mentor Up project. So, our purpose, as everyone else that we talked that's presented today, is really to try to increase the number and the quality of proposals that are submitted to ATE. We want you to get funded. What we want to do is for you to be successful. And the mentoring, and it doesn't matter whether it's Mentor Connect, Mentor Up, or if you have an individual mentor, significantly improves your chances of being competitive and getting an award. So how our particular initiative is formatted, we have a 2.5-day intensive workshop. It's actually done virtually. And that's thanks to the pandemic. Before the pandemic, we were meeting face to face, but then moved into a virtual mode that we have found has made us unique and that we've continued to use. And following the 2.5-day workshop, you are assigned a one-on-one mentor that many of them are experienced principal investigators and or past NSF program officers. We have pre-workshop questions so that we want you to get prepared for that 2.5-day intensive workshop. As I think Mentor Connect could attest in terms of their workshop too, it's like drinking from a fire hose. We give you tons of information at once, but then subsequently we follow up with also webinars to reinforce what you've hopefully got a little taste of in the workshop itself. Next slide. So our goals, I mentioned this already, is we're looking now at really those of you who have not submitted proposals, or even if you have. So we're targeting the October 2nd, 2025 deadline. But again, trying to increase what you're going to be submitting. We also review the draft proposals and give you lots of input in terms of things we think you might want to address, or maybe if something was missing. You don't have to listen to anything we say, but it's clearly, I think, an incredible asset to have other people look at your proposals, read them, and give you feedback before it's finally submitted. So as far as activities, we engage a faculty team that's supported by a grant writer and or an administrator, and is assigned a mentor no later than April 15th. Usually once we accept you as a mentee, we'll assign you a mentor immediately. There's a pre-workshop, a virtual workshop, and post-workshop support. And again, continued support during negotiations and resubmission. So like Mentor Connect, if you do receive questions, those of you who are familiar with the NSF review process, you get through the panel review, but then there's questions that your program officer will send you. And so nothing is a sure thing you're going to get funded. You have to follow everything so carefully and make sure that you're addressing any kind of questions that your program officer might be asking you. So sometimes we find that, in an individual, especially if it's a new PI, they're not sure what to say. Maybe they're not really familiar with some of the terminology. I'm thinking of something like a time and effort report that might be requested. So we can help you with all of that. Also, like Mentor Connect, we do also accept people who are resubmitting, whether it's with us previously or they've submitted, like Beth said, a couple of proposals, or they have this one proposal that keeps not getting funded. We will basically work with you to try to make it competitive. Next slide. So what's our process? You have to register online through April 1st, 2025. And the link is atementorup.org. We already mentioned that you get a mentor assigned by April 15th, tax day. So we kind of line those two. I don't know why, but maybe it's one way. It's about money. And the virtual workshop is scheduled June 4th through the 6th, 2025. It's a Wednesday to Friday, and it is virtual. And the nice part about that is that in as much as we provide a $500 workshop stipend for each of 2 faculty members, and then if the proposal, and hopefully it will be submitted, we're not saying awarded, be submitted, we also give an additional $250 to each of the faculty members. The other administrators, maybe it's even a grant writer or whatever, they don't receive a stipend, but they're all welcome to attend. So the nice part about it being virtual, we don't have a limit on the number of people that can participate in the workshop. So we're not paying for travel or things that might make it cost prohibitive. So if you had maybe a grant writer that only looks at the agenda and would like to just come for some of the presentation, that's okay. Then we ask for draft proposals, and they're individually reviewed by a team that include former ATE program directors, former PIs, and some of you know Kathleen Alfano. She's one of our co-PIs, had very successful NSF ATE grants and centers, as well as she served as a program officer as well. Next slide. Oh, looks like this is a repeat. I don't know if we went backwards. Okay, thank you. Additional opportunities. Let's say you have an idea now that you'd like discussed, please send it to us. We'll give you an initial reaction to that, and maybe give you some direction of things to explore. We just have a form online, fill it out, and basically we'll have an individual contacting you shortly. We added something new about a year ago called pre-mentoring. So this is before the workshop. It's not required, but we found that it really helped with individuals that don't really even know what would be an idea or a project that could be considered by ATE. So basically, this again is a one-on-one assignment between a mentor and the team, and we try to help you complete a competitive application for Mentor Up. But also, I think what's real key is it helps you flesh out your ideas and make sure that you're going down the right track. The deadline for pre-mentoring to the workshop is March 15th, 2025. And also we provide a stipend of $250 to each of 2 faculty members who participate in the pre-mentoring, and then also submit a formal application for Mentor Up in the June workshop. I mentioned this already, but I'll repeat it. Pre-mentoring is not required for submission to the full workshop. You can still apply and be accepted without doing the pre-mentoring. We just found that often we got applications that were weak, definitely needed work, and we don't want to refuse you. So this pre-mentoring initiative has really helped clean that up a bit. Next slide. So what do you need to submit? A 1-page project description, a support letter from an administrator, and again, the names of faculty members or any others that are going to be attending the virtual workshop. There's no limit on the number of participants per community college team, but only 2 faculty members are eligible to receive stipends. I also want to add that we are requiring, we didn't put this on the slide, but this was a kind of a follow-up to our review of our last cohort. We're requiring 2 faculty members to actually be part of the team and to submit the proposal. We find if you only have 1 PI, I had an evaluator years ago who used this term called single point of failure, which I didn't know what that meant. But then she said, well, that's actually you, Karen. And I was like, what do you mean? She was like, well, if it's only you and something happens to you, then you're the project or the grant is going to potentially fail. Any more information, anyone to discuss ideas, contact either myself or Kathleen Alfano. We'll get back to you usually within a day or 2, but we love to at least chat some, if you have some ideas, give you, some direction without actually even applying to Mentor Up. The application is at atementorup.org. There's other information there as well if you want to explore participating in Mentor Up. Next slide. So this is just a quick testimony. We have a number of them that have just mentioned how valuable Mentor Up has been. This is Sheila Banfield from Santa Fe College, and basically said, a team of first-time principal investigators and co-principal investigators relied on this program and the mentors to guide us along the application process. Without mentoring, the new PIs and co-PIs would not be able to navigate the process from concept to the awarded grant reality. And then Bonnie Kelly, same thing. The mentoring experience was the most valuable tool I have ever received in regards to grant writing. It made the difference between writing a proposal and presenting a fundable project. Our success rate for Mentor Up is about 71%. So I think comparing this to Mentor Connect, around 72. I did not include, what the normal percentage, I think it was 24 for NSF grants, but clearly if you're in your 70s, that's impressive, so it does make a difference. Next slide. And that's it for me. So we'll pause for a minute if anyone has any specific questions. And if you, at the end of the webinar, if you decide or come up with something, because I do this myself, I have an epiphany afterwards, please, send us an email and we'll be happy to talk with you further.
So while we're waiting.
Right. I don't see any questions at this point, just so you're aware, Beth. So you may want to ask for folks to unmute if they'd like to.
Yeah, sure. If it's easier for you to just unmute and ask your question for Mentor Up or Mentor Connect, we can do that at this time. And while you're thinking about that, I'm going to just ask Karen a little bit about the value of that pre-mentoring that you've started. That is something innovative that Mentor Up has started. And do a lot of colleges take advantage of that?
So last year, and we had like 18 teams, I would say half of them did the pre-mentoring, and really actually helped us quite a bit, because sometimes, you get an application, it's a good idea, but it's just missing so many pieces. So it really helps in terms of, give them that direction, give them, a chance to spend some time before the workshop, because all that does is really capitalize on the value of the workshop. So I would say it was very successful. The mentors, as well as the teams that participated, all came back and gave it stellar reviews, which is why we decided this year to continue it. And we have one more year on our grant. So after 2025, Mentor Up will sunset, sadly, but all good things come to an end, as they say. So next year really will be our last year to offer the pre-mentoring, but also the workshop itself.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, Force is sunsetting this end of this month. And so let me ask you a question, Karen, about the pre-mentoring, a follow-up.
Sure.
So I'm a community college and I'm thinking about submitting a proposal, and I talk with you or Kathleen or one of your mentors, and it's just not the right time. I have a great idea, but for whatever reason, maybe there's a change in administration at my community college. Maybe my idea doesn't align with the strategic plan for the community college. Are you fine with people just talking to you and not going forward with Mentor Up? And is
Yes.
there
Yeah.
value in just having that conversation?
Absolutely. In fact, we would encourage that conversation to occur because it's better to know upfront that maybe this isn't the right time. You could still, certainly have the conversation with us. We wouldn't accept you as a formal team, but I think that's critical. We also run into applications. So, for example, they want to do something that's actually more in healthcare, which is not fundable by ATE. So it helps us, it's hard. I hate saying to people, this is not really, something that NSF specifically, not even ATE will fund. But we don't want to waste everyone's time. So it just cuts to the chase. So I think it's very valuable for them, and it's really valuable for us too. So I think it's a great initiative. And if we have to part our ways, great, but it doesn't mean you can't come back another time and with a new idea or an idea that maybe is got the content that we think is needed.
Great.
And
And even
Elaine,
if,
go ahead.
Mentor Up is sunsetting, Mentor Connect is going to be here,
Yes,
right?
yes, yep,
So just a quick example with Force, last year we worked with a team from Texas, Hill College, and then they weren't able to submit because of change in administration, and they changed altogether. They weren't doing anything in cybersecurity, which Forces specializes in, and then they went over to Mentor Connect. And it was all fine. I think all the mentoring initiatives just want to see colleges succeed. And I think Elaine wants to.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that the pre-mentoring intervention that Karen was mentioning, which is an excellent idea, and I support that wholeheartedly. Mentor Connect actually does a little bit of that as well. However, you don't have to apply for that. You just apply for Mentor Connect, and we review the grant idea that you have or a set of ideas that you might want to explore. And then we'll get back with you for a pre-mentoring intervention that discusses how to best position your project for proposal success. It may be leaving off something that really does not align well with the ATE program, or it may be that you're trying to bite off too much to start with, and we will work with you to find the place where you really should start and get a good foundation that you can build on with subsequent grants and that sort of thing. So the mentoring strategies that we use, we've developed through our collective working together over the years, and we keep adding things as the needs arise and to better support the needs of the two-year colleges. I will comment for the two-year college presidents who may be a little less familiar with NSF. We talk a lot about faculty, and it's because research is the core mission of the National Science Foundation, and it's in their DNA to work with faculty. Faculty drive proposals, they put proposals in, it's their research ideas that get funded. And so with the ATE program, NSF is really expecting a high level of faculty involvement. They're the ones that are where the rubber meets the road, so to speak. They know their students, they know their programs, and they very often know their industry and industry needs better than anybody else at the college. And so the grant professionals that we work with soon discover that they really leverages what they do and makes it possible for the college to secure additional grant funding, more grant funding, and to actually have some real buy-in for the implementation of these grants when the faculty are involved throughout the process. With something that's going to impact their students and their programs. So it's a different way of looking at it. Many of the federal funding programs do not involve faculty, and the faculty barely even know they're going on if they know at all. at the college. But this one really, really gets your faculty motivated, and it empowers them to move their programs forward. And it gives them access to money that your college budgets may not be able to provide. And so that's a very heady thing for faculty, and they can get very excited about this empowerment to be able to actually do something to move their programs forward and help their students and the employers in the area.
Thank you, Elaine. Karen, you came off mute. Did you want to add to that?
No, I think I would echo everything that Elaine said. And I also do want to say, although know that Beth, your project is going to be sunsetting, we've all worked very closely together. So sometimes there might have been a project that, crossed our table that we thought was a better fit for either Mentor Connect or for your initiative. We would just recommend and basically have you consider a different mentoring initiative. But we're all good friends, and we ultimately, our mission and goal is for all of you to submit competitive grants that get funded. So we're really all in your ballpark and your fans, to say the least.
Absolutely. We're your biggest fans. Your success is our success, right? We're in the back seat, you're in the front seat. And Pam, did you want to say something about the new solicitation and track one? And the money's really attractive, right?
As if people were not as familiar with NSF ATE, and I wasn't sure of the audience, that the new solicitation has their track one, they changed it slightly. If you watch the webinar, I have Dr. Carter explains it, but it does have, in case anyone's wondering, an amount of $475,000 maximum. There's a track two, not as recommended for new colleges, but it has a $1 million budget. And just as a comparison, when I got my first grant in 2012, the maximum for track one was $200,000. So NSF maybe is even slightly ahead of inflation there. I'm not sure.
That's funny. I submitted mine in, I believe, 2015, and I had $250,000. So, it was very much incremental in those earlier days. And now they just like leapfrog with the money. You're right, Pam. It's ahead of inflation. So very attractive. And the other thing about track one, do you want to explain, Pam, that it used to, have that 7-year thing?
Right.
Do you want to
It was
explain that a little?
limited before to only colleges who had not had an ATE grant in the last 7 years. But NSF and really Dr. Carter realized that schools, just because you had a grant in welding, did not mean your IT people were able to be PIs and be successful. So they changed it to Karen or Elaine, help me, small projects, small scale projects. Thank you. And so it is open. It's open to anyone, but it's highly recommended for new schools, because if you put in your results of prior support, we've never had an ATE grant, they're going to somewhat review you as a new person to ATE. So I said, same review, but maybe a little kinder and gentler for you.
Right. Well put, Pam. So again, we're open for questions. Anything, Dr. Dukes, in
I
chat?
don't see any questions just yet, but I did want to make an observation, if that's all right with you.
Absolutely.
I think when we started the webinar, you indicated that at Prince George's, we've had an NSF grant for the last 40 years or so. And Dr. Vera Zdravkovic, who could not be on the call today, was a faculty member when she wrote the first NSF grant. And then she moved up through the professional trajectory to vice president for academic affairs. And that's when, we started some of the work with the National Cyber Watch Center. But we've also talked about diversity in STEM. And I think it's worth noting that all of your panelists today are women. And that is certainly, when we think about women, we think about people of color and the like. That is the kind of diversity that we are talking about. And it is so important to think about that as you think about your own institutions. I think it's also important to note that as these programs are sunsetting and as community colleges still need help and support, those are some of the things in the thought leaders dialogue that we'll hold on January 24th that allow us to communicate to whether it's Dr. Carter and others who are part of the NSF family, that we don't always have all of the resources that our four-year partners have. And in some cases, understanding that you don't have to do this alone. You can do it in partnership with other institutions. And we find that that's helpful too. Some of us have one grant writer, if we're lucky. Some don't have any. They're relying on faculty and other administrators and the like to come together to flesh out these ideas and to have access to the kind of experts that we have on the call today. But I just wanted to note those two things and to thank you, Beth, for allowing me to do that.
Welcome. Most welcome. And thank you for those important points. So I'm going to just take a second and do a quick infomercial, Charlene, which you already did bullet 2 for me, which I thank you for that. So if you're interested in being part of our third Thought Leaders Dialogue, we'll have the registration link up probably in November sometime. We encourage everyone to participate. We don't know the time yet. It will probably be sometime in the afternoon, Eastern Standard Time, because we like to have make it friendly for all time zones. So for our colleagues on the West Coast, that it's a comfortable time. So think about that. We'll have the registration up sometime next month, but we do have a registration for our next CCPI cast, which is Friday, November 15th. And that's our standard 1:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time or daylight save. I think we're coming up on daylight. I don't know. I can never remember. But anyway, it's how to build institutional capacity for NSF ATE grants. And we're going to have community college presidents. One of them is on the call today, Dr. Sylvia Jenkins, who just retired from Moraine Valley Community College, who had CASIA, which was the Center for Cybersecurity and Information Assurance. So she'll be talking about her experience and how they started very small and increased their capacity to have multiple grants now. The other president that will be on the call is Dr. Annette Parker from Central Community College. Is that right, Charlene? Up in Minnesota. And she was actually a PI of a center, I believe. And
Right.
was it aviation or something? Or
Automotive.
manufacturing?
It's
Yeah.
automotive.
Right.
What was it,
Amtech.
Elaine?
Amtech, automotive.
Oh,
Yes.
automotive. That's it. Automotive. Thank you.
Right.
Yeah. See, we need a
That,
collective brain to
South
remember.
South Central
South Central
Minnesota.
in
And
Minnesota.
I believe that she has announced her retirement as well.
No, we're going to snap her up. Nobody's allowed to retire. And then we're just recently we confirmed that Shane Kirby, who works with CCPI STEM, who is the grants writer at Columbus State Community College, he's also going to be on the November 15th CCPI cast. So you can go ahead to cpstem.org in the right-hand corner of the homepage. Just click that register here button and we'll get you going with that. So the next one is questions, comments, and polls. So I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to launch a poll, and we would really appreciate if you could spend a few moments and fill out this poll. We have I believe our external evaluator is on the call, and she will process this and take a few minutes to answer this if you don't mind. And it's anonymous. We just want to let you know it's all anonymous, and we appreciate all the feedback that you can give us. The first 4 of the 6 questions are just a click, on a Likert scale. You strongly disagree or you strongly agree, and anywhere in between. And then the last 2 questions of the 6 are open-ended. They're not required, but any feedback you'd like to give, we would appreciate that. I was a community college educator for 30 years, and I really never looked at the numbers. I always like to look at the comments. So I appreciated students who put in either positive comments or helpful comments to make me improve as a faculty member, especially in my early days of teaching. So we got some feedback coming in. Okay, we have 3 of 21 participants. So 14%, we can do better. Let's take a moment to answer those questions. Okay, we're already up to 30%. We appreciate that.
I always tell people that one of the things that they'll learn when they write an ATE grant is that Dr. Carter really likes the so what question. You did the webinar, so what? So this is helping CCPI with their so what questions. So you'll learn when you write the grant, you will do surveys at the end of it or get feedback from people.
I like that, Pam. I'm going to ask Dr. Carter when I see her next week at the ATPI conference if I can steal that so what moniker. I like that. Okay, we're over 50%, 55%.
I guess I stole it without asking her.
I won't tell her where I heard it from, okay?
Beth, if you don't mind, this is Sylvia.
Sure, Sylvia, please.
So I want to say to Karen and Elaine and Pamela, thank you very much for the presentation. Next week, George, Boggs, and I, along with some other participants, will be sharing information about CCPI STEM at ACCT Leadership Congress, and we're going to share the Mentor Up and Mentor Connect information with the attendees. I think this is a really critical part of anybody applying for grants, irregardless of the content area, to have the kind of support that you all offer. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Sylvia. And just as an overall note, where people were talking about sunsetting, Mentor Connect is not sunsetting. We were recently funded for our 4th funding cycle. So Mentor Connect does plan to be around for a long time. So as people are looking at mentoring initiatives, there's so many colleges that can use help. So I'm glad that Karen and Beth had some available and everything. But as we continue, Mentor Connect is not looking at any ending date at this point in time.
Well, that's good to hear. Thank you.
You all are the flagship. We're just little rowboats. Okay, so we have 72%, 3 minutes and 30 seconds. I'll give it a few more minutes and then I'll end the poll. And this is, you got 30 seconds. If anybody has a question, you can just come off mute. I see some folks are dropping off.
And I recently had to admit 2 people. I'm hoping that those who joined just now maybe had dropped off and back on. If you thought and got your time zones wrong, we are finishing up the webinar, but Beth, it is recorded. And so if they miss the webinar, they can watch a recording on the CCPI site. That
is correct, Pam. And what I'll do is I'll just put up the PowerPoint slide, the title slide, so that you can see that direct link. Okay, and I'm going to close the poll and I'm going to share the results for anybody who is interested. I'll share that. Can y'all see the results there? Okay, so we had 86% participation, so we appreciate that. So most of you thought this was helpful as we keep going down. Some people are neutral, that's fine. And then, so we had a couple folks answer the open-ended questions, 5 and 6. So we really appreciate that. So I'll stop sharing those polls. And let me just share the PowerPoint presentation for that link for those who are just joining us. Okay, let me go to the beginning here. And you can get that URL. And I'll have the slides up there right after. And then what we do as far as the recordings, we have a video editor who does our video logo and branding, audio branding. So it takes about a week or 2 weeks. It all depends on John's availability. And those will be put up there at the sippi.stem.org/webcast.podcast/ And you can see all our previous ones. There are 11 previous episodes. So don't miss a one of them. So with that, I think I'm going to stop sharing and stop recording and just thank everybody for being here. And in particular, thank you to Karen and Elaine and Pam for your time and sharing your expertise and your willingness to help community colleges get some NSF ATE funding.